2. The Mahayana practices of perfection. Mahayana Buddhism holds that in order for humans to be delivered, they must follow 6 practices known as the 6 paramitas: generosity, discipline, patience, diligence, meditative concentration, and prajna wisdom. On the surface, the 6 paramitas may appear to be nothing out of the ordinary, creating a rather mundane outlook of the Mahayanist teachings by simply telling us to share, abide the law, work hard, be patient, focus, and have mental agility. If they were simple, why would the Buddha have to teach these? This is not true, because the Buddha had so much more to offer. They are listed as follows. 1. Generosity. In the early days of Buddhism, the Buddha walked between southern and northern India across the shores of the Ganges River. In order to help people relate his teachings to their daily life, Buddha often used the river as an example. In the Diamond Sutra, Buddha taught that, if anyone were to give away the 7 jewels accumulated from the 3,000 chiliocosms and the amount of sands from the Ganges River, he would accumulate innumerable merits. However, such merits would still be bounded by form, by number, and by amount. True spiritual cultivation is to be able to practice formless giving through the attainment of the emptiness of the 3 aspects of giving. Anyone who has read the Diamond Sutra will see the immense heart of the Buddha that has room for the greatest universe. He often taught his disciples to give without becoming attached to form, and deliver living beings without becoming attached to the self. This certainly is the unconditional, altruistic, all-embracing, and non-dualistic trait of the Mahayanist teachings. Therefore, does generosity actually mean giving to others or to the self? If it were the former, people do find it hard to give away for a good cause. On the other hand, if generosity were taken to be an act of giving both to others and the self, where the benefit and honor is mutual, would you still hesitate to give? Just as farmers cannot harvest without sowing seeds, by giving you shall gain. Whenever there is giving, there will be gain. The notion of generosity is frequently mentioned in Buddhism. On the surface, devotees give by donating money and materials to the Sangha community, while bhiksus and bhiksunis give back to the devotees by gifts of dharma. Just as the saying goes, the giving of money and dharma are no different but one and the same. Buddha had continued to emphasize the quality between them, which is also what makes the dharma extraordinary. In addition to the giving of money and dharma, there exists an even more important form of giving, the giving of fearlessness. This means to protect people from worry and fear, just as how a mother protects her baby, and how a nation protects its people. The greatest form of giving is to offer humanity a life filled with happiness and peace, as well as freedom from fear. In the process of giving, there may exist unwholesome ways, such as giving with attachment, bias, greed for fame and benefit, or expectation for return, all of which have been mentioned in various sutras. Nevertheless, the most significant meaning of giving, according to the Dharma, should be remembered as, the giver and receiver are one and the same. When the act of giving is being done, instead of just thinking about what merits we will have, we must also remember that those who accept our giving will receive just as much merits. This is similar to inviting guests to our house for dinner. At the end of the day, we as hosts must thank them for coming, for their friendship, and for coming all the way to our house to accept our offerings. In other words, we must thank people for eating our food. This indeed brings the relationship of the giver and receiver to its most profound level. 2. Discipline. People usually fear the word discipline, because it carries the tone of restrictions on the self. Thus we must raise the question, does discipline actually mean restriction or freedom? The answer is not difficult to see with a little deliberation. Discipline means to prevent wrongdoings and cease unwholesome acts. If you can achieve this, discipline will no longer be a restriction and ultimately is freedom. When we abide by the law, why would we ever be jailed? We can see that inmates of prisons in this world are mostly people who have violated the 5 precepts and broken the law. Thus they are sanctioned for their crimes. If they never committed the acts of killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, drinking or taking intoxicants, then why would they be anywhere but inside prisons? Just as trains must stay on track, and planes must fly en route, the Buddha had already pointed out a clear route for humans to follow in life. For example, after the Vinayas came into China, in order to become fully ordained, one must go through the triple platform full ordination ceremony. On the first platform, Sramaneras and Sramanerikas must take the precepts of rites, that is, to follow the regulations of demeanor in walking, standing, sitting, and reclining. Coming to the second platform, Bhikshus and Bhikshunis must take the precepts of virtue, that is, to practice all good deeds and actively reach out to living beings to teach them, and to serve society. Finally, on the third platform, either lay or monastics must take the precepts to benefit sentient beings and to deliver all beings from suffering and adversity with great loving kindness and great compassion. To reach the state of no marks of self, no marks of people, no marks of sentient beings, and no marks of living beings, as said in the Diamond Sutra, would be the ultimate practice of discipline and precepts. 3. Patience. On the path of spiritual cultivation, our most intimate companion is the paramita of patience. It is not easy for us to swallow insult and humiliation, endure suffering and adversity, or tolerate wrongful accusations and criticism, because we would feel as if we were disadvantaged. That is why people are able to endure hunger, suffering, or adversity, but are unwilling to endure insults. When confronted with aggrievement or grievance, most people tend to yield to the tendency to resist and fight back. The truth is, patience does not mean to simply endure physical discomfort such as harsh cold or starvation, nor does it mean to endure humiliation or insult, or to yield and swallow your anger. Patience as taught by the Buddha is a kind of strength. However much praise, ridicule, slander, honor, profit, loss, suffering or joy you are able to endure, however much stronger you will be. The truth is, patience is a kind of wisdom and compassion. By enduring a situation, you will certainly come to know the causes, effects and stories behind it all, and then you will be able to transcend and rise above the situation. Just as the saying goes, endurance brings peace and serenity. Compromise makes the world so much bigger. In regards to patience, one question is worth pondering over: is patience really a disadvantage or advantage? For most people, the answer would be the former. However, one who endures places oneself at an advantage, and one who fails will be at a loss. The ability to endure makes us stronger and wiser. Never be a pot that calls the kettle black. Being able to endure, I should strive to rise above and be better than others. That is why various Mahayana sutras encourage the practice of the Bodhisattva path, especially by focusing on the practice of the paramita of patience. The importance of patience must not be overlooked. Disharmony in a family could turn family against each other, and then there would be no such thing as happiness and peace. If we are always comparing and arguing with people, always being so stubborn and unwilling to endure, lacking manner, then how would it be possible for us to survive in society? The world today is filled with disputes, war, crime and murders. Lawsuits are endless. All of these are caused by people's unwillingness to endure insult or anger. Those who lose will become depressed, while those who win will continue to inflict pain and suffering onto others. Is this truly the happiness we want? If it is, how long would this happiness last? The ancients used to say, "Only patience brings peace." In order to achieve world peace and happiness, it is essential to inspire mutual benefit and mutual tolerance. Any moment we are able to endure a little misunderstanding, aggrievement, slander or insult, then the world will be in peace. In the Agamas, patience can be divided into ordinary patience, dharma patience, and patience of non-arising dharmas. What this means is that the only way for us to survive in this world is through the wisdom and strength found within patience. Ordinary patience means the wisdom to see the good and bad of this world in order to survive. Patience is also a form of acceptance where not only are you able to take in all the humiliation, insult, merit, profit, as well as good and bad treatments, but also to take these matters into your own hands and resolve them. One who is patient will find the courage to endure all suffering and adversity, and help people find happiness and peace. Ordinary patience is the endurance and courage, which arise from our will to survive. It is also wisdom and strength, which is cultivated from our experiences resolving everyday matters and relationship issues. Therefore, whether we are able to endure any unfair treatment or adversity in life will depend on our ability to learn from these lessons as well as our wisdom and strength within. Dharma patience is best represented by the phrase, "to remain unmoved against the eight winds." In other words, to remain unmoved by all matters in life, all phenomena in this world, all the sorrow, sadness, suffering, affliction, fame, gain, benefit, kindness and coldness experienced. In addition, Dharma patience enables us to understand, confront, resolve, transform, and even purify these circumstances. Therefore, only patience will enable us to understand, accept, confront, and resolve life's problems. Patience of non-arising dharma is yet an even higher state, which means an insight into the fact that every phenomena intrinsically neither arises nor extinguishes, that everything is equal. To be able to go along with the condition and an enlightened mind to the theory of non-arising, then even the concept of patience would have no need to exist, as everything is simply just as it is. Therefore, does patience actually put us at an advantage or disadvantage after all? My 80 years of experience as a monastic has taught me the true wonder and power of patience. The greater your patience, the closer you are to success. 4. Diligence. On the Bodhisattva path, not only are the practices of generosity, discipline, and patience important, diligence is also essential to the training of a bodhisattva. As the saying goes, there is only benefit in diligence, not in play. Buddha also taught 4 ways to practice diligence. To prevent evil from arising when there is none. To eradicate evil when there is some. To prompt the arising of virtue when there is none. To enhance the growth of virtue when there is some. In other words, Buddha has taught us to actively engage in acts of virtue when we are not yet doing any, to make sure that all transgressions we have committed are eradicated, to refrain from doing anything unwholesome when we have not done any, and to discipline our minds from trespassing upon others by thoughts of greed, anger, or jealousy. In other words, it is all about diligently engaging in the acts of stopping evil and doing virtue without ever being lethargic or negligent. While the wealth and luxury enjoyed by millionaires in this world may be attributed to their blessings and conditions, most of them have also earned it by hard work. Money will never fall into your lap while you are sitting at home. Nor will it pop out of the ground at your disposal without toil. As the saying goes, even if there is gold flowing down along the stream, you still have to rise early to scoop it up. Scholars who are studious will succeed. Farmers who diligently cultivate their fields will not fear lack of harvest. Therefore, does diligence mean toil or happiness? Laundry that is left unwashed will always be dirty, and only clean clothes will give us comfort. When your home is unclean and untidy, how will you be at ease living in it? In this world, parents raise their children, and teachers educate their students all for one purpose: to teach youngsters that those good grades in school or success in one's career would not be possible without diligent work. Therefore, is diligence actually hardship or happiness? Before you reap, you must first sow. How can there be a fruitful harvest in the vineyard without the diligent works of cultivation, weeding, and fertilization? Humanity has evolved from the agricultural era to the Industrial Revolution, and then finally to the era of technological advancement. Although automated robots now largely assist our works, the human brain still plays a key role in designing the function and operation of even the most advanced computers. The most advanced robot still depends on humans to give it the power to move. If all members of family are united and cooperative, then there will be happiness within the family. An organization cannot progress if its members do not work as a team. If every person in this world strives hard to bring happiness to others, then how can this world be without peace and joy? 5. Meditative concentration. Within the practices of the 6 paramitas, it is important to learn the many ways of dealing with the world and people. In the process of liberating both oneself and others, the practice of meditative concentration is also essential to an aspiring bodhisattva. Most of the time, the unrest of our minds is caused by our afflictions. When our minds are filled with greed, anger, ignorance, resentment, and jealousy, there will be no willingness to do anything that is beneficial to others. This unrest will remain for as long as the delusive thoughts of greed persist. Then how can we help or be of service to others? Therefore, meditative concentration is a key practice to finding peace and purpose in life. It is also the driving force of the remaining 5 paramitas. When Buddha held up a flower and smiled on Vulture Peak, what emanated from his smile was a wonderful spark in the universe, the profound truth of life, and the beginning of the endless words of wisdom in Chinese Chan Buddhism. Let us ask a question: is Chan lively or rigid? The answer is the latter. Most people take meditation to be an act of sitting cross-legged with eyes closed. In fact, sitting meditation is merely a means and a process through which the development of wisdom through meditative concentration is assisted. The true way of Chan should be something active and lively. As has been said, Chan is found in collecting firewood and water, eating and drinking, when walking, standing, sitting and reclining, in silence and in movement, and in a lifted eyebrow and blinking eyes. Chan is a smooth and carefree attitude used in dealing with the world. 6. Prajna wisdom. In general, the first 5 paramitas, generosity, discipline, patience, diligence, and meditative concentration on their own, are merely worldly teachings. Only in the presence of the Prajna Paramita do they then become transcendental teachings. Just as the saying goes, the first 5 precepts are like blind men awaiting the guidance of Prajna wisdom. The worldly acts of giving and discipline are conducted with attachment. But when guided by Prajna wisdom, these can then be practiced without attachment to form, attachment to dualistic stances, and comparisons. At this point, another question must be raised: can prajna wisdom be sought through the within or the without? From the without, you would need to consult science and philosophy, which are nonetheless mundane knowledge, and are still far from the prajna wisdom which can be attained by seeking from the within. Prajna wisdom, attained by inner searching, is wisdom perfected by gaining an insight into the law of dependent origination and the nature of emptiness within all phenomena. With prajna wisdom, we will overcome all dualistic views between self and others, transcend all afflictions caused by ignorance, and thereby reach the state of perfect ease. Thus the 6 paramitas bear a much more profound meaning than what it simply exhibits in words. Humans are mad sacred through life and spiritual cultivation. In the practice of humanistic Buddhism, one must first elevate his character if he wishes to be a decent and healthy human being. For example, to make oneself better than others, better than before, and greater along the path of time. The 6 paramitas as practiced by bodhisattvas are the guides to our practices of humanistic Buddhism. For example, a blueprint of humanistic Buddhism on our ways of dealing with family and relatives, friends, food, clothing, daily living, transportation, education, leisure, resources and spiritual cultivation is provided in the Vimalakirti Sutra. Wisdom is the mother of all bodhisattvas. Skillful means is the father among all guides and teachers. None are not born from these parents. Joy in the Dharma is the wife. Compassion is the daughter. Kindness and sincerity are the sons. Ultimately, Dharma is a home. The Lotus Sutra, regarded by the Jiante school in Chinese Buddhism as their primary text, ultimately advocates the teaching of the one vehicle, which embodies the Bodhisattva way. The physical manifestation of an arhat with the inner quality of an altruistic bodhisattva encourages people to deliver all living beings whilst benefiting the world. In particular, the metaphors such as that of a conjured city used by the Buddha serve as a reminder for us to come to terms without our own mind, and to cultivate ourselves physically so that we will not leave our inner treasure hidden and lost. Most importantly, we must let our true thusness, our intrinsic natures shine and guide us along the path of life. Other than the Lotus Sutra, Changguan was a teacher to 7 emperors during the Tang dynasty. He encouraged Buddhists to imitate Sadhana from the Avatamsaka Sutra, who embarked on a journey to visit 53 teachers who could mentor him. He reached out to people of all walks of life across all social strata. For example, Meghadramita the linguist, Indrisvara the mathematician who played with sands, King Anala who governed his state with strict law enforcement, Vairocana the voyager, and Jayatama the judge. In my opinion, any young pupil who does not seek advice in at least 50 to 100 great mentors on ways of self-establishment and dealing with the world throughout his entire life is unlikely to succeed. Has anyone ever assumed the throne solely on his own individual effort? If you desire a noble rank, then you must have staff, a crowd, and a team. Therefore, as the Avatamsaka Sutra mentions the phenomenal Dharma realm, the principal Dharma realm, and mutually unobstructed phenomenal Dharma realm, these are in fact teachings on how we can be a good human being who deals with the world appropriately, and through our interactions with daily matters, come to understand the truth about the interpenetrating dharmas of the world and live life in joy and perfect ease. Dedication of merits. May kindness, compassion, joy and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May Chan, Pure Land and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our humility and gratitude give rise to great vows.